Hi, David here, Royal Navy Yachtmaster. Thanks for tuning in again. I hope you guys are really enjoying all my videos. And if you are, please like and subscribe. That would be awesome. So today's subject is navigation. Basic navigation. The kind of navigation that you don't really want to do when you're in beautiful Croatia on a charter boat holiday or working holiday for us, filming for our YouTube channel. But you know what? There's a certain level that you need to do for due diligence, okay? And I'm going to walk you through a little bit of how to measure distance, because that's helpful for you when you're planning your day. Is that island that we're going to, is it 20 miles away or 5 miles away? I'll show you how to measure all of that. I'll also show you the hidden danger of not paying attention to your charts and your plotter, right? Whether on your charter boat or on your own personal boat, you've probably got one of these plotters that has a great little picture of you driving along, all safe and dandy. So if we all have these and pay attention to them, why is YouTube full of videos of powerboats stuck up on rocks that they obviously had no clue that were there? All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that and how the due diligence of paying attention to your plotters and your charts will prevent that from happening, okay? And I'll tell you a story. So years ago I was driving HMS Newcastle, Type 42, 5,000-ton destroyer from the Royal Navy around the island of Montserrat. Montserrat had had a volcano eruption at the time, lava flow into the ocean, a river of lava into the ocean. And we were taking the local people, the Montserrat people, on basically a joyride around the island to build a little trust with the Navy and the local people that we were there with good spirit and good intent. I was driving. Our navigation track had us about a mile off the volcano, and the captain, wonderful guy, now an Admiral, Admiral Lambert, put his head in the bridge door and said, "David, take us a little bit closer so we can see the pyroclastic flow in the volcano." And I said, "You know, sir, obviously I'll do that, but we don't know how deep it is in there. The charts show depths, soundings from whenever the survey was done of that area, possibly 100 years ago. And since then there's been a river of lava going into the ocean. We don't know how deep it is." So think about that, whether in your local bay where you go on your Sunday afternoon trip, do you actually know how deep it is in there by the beach? Or, you know, or are you guessing? And so again, I'm just saying this with all good intent. I know we don't want to bother with intense navigation, but you got to keep yourself safe. So let's look at a couple of things on these charts here. We came from the island of Vis, and we can see a few things on the chart. Here are the soundings. This is the water depth. Now, these are local charts from Croatia. I don't speak Croatia, but somewhere on here it will tell us what units the soundings are in. Are they meters, feet, or fathoms? Not many charts use fathoms these days, so it's probably meters or feet. I don't speak Croatian. But my worst case scenario is that's 53 feet in the anchorage there. You see that symbol, the anchorage? Best case scenario is it's 150 odd feet if it's meters. So, you know, any way you slice it was safe. I'm reckoning these are meters because of what my depth sounder was showing me in there. Very deep water all the way in. Now, a couple of things on charter boat charts, right? So this is Vis. This is the island of Korčula over here, which is actually where we're heading today. We're going into Dubrovnik, we're going across here. And there's a gap right here, a gap of ocean. And I know this because if I look at the scale of the chart, I'll show you how to measure distance. This is 43 degrees and no minutes. Each one of these bars is a minute, which is a mile. There's 5 and there's 10. So I can open this out to 5 miles. I can plot my way across, and this is just eyeballing. I'm not navigating, I'm illustrating a point, so don't say anything in the comments. So here's 5, 10, 15, 20 odd miles. And I know from the chart plotter that it's actually a little bigger than that. So there's a gap, all right? Now, the very important thing is detail. And by the way, just to stay with measuring distance, so when you're planning your day, right, you can say, well, we've got the island of Vis here, it's going to be 5 miles around the corner, 10 miles up to Var. We do 8 knots, so you can do some rough math. If it's 16 miles, you can say, and you can tell all your guests and friends, it's going to be about 2 hours up to Var, and then everybody knows they've got their sunbathing time, okay, so you plan. couple of things. So on the plotter, it's very tempting to have it pulled out like this, as I did, because our destination today is Dubrovnik, which is over here. I wanted to stick my head in the corner here to Korčula and just do a drive-by and then come back out. So I have it set to show a decent clearance off the rocks here and then taking us around the top to Korčula. You'll notice the range markers, 5, 10, 15 miles, and as I zoom in, the range markers change, right? We've got 2.5, 5, and 7. And so here we are going along, but what I encourage you to do is not stay on the big picture like this. This will tell you if you're going in the right direction, but here's a really interesting feature that happened just a few minutes ago. I always expand the plotter, and this is our purple line, right? So as I came around the end of the island, there's an obstruction here and an obstruction here. This plotter, probably like your plotter, doesn't have a whole lot of detail on it. It's got a little bit of rock and sand, and I'm checking on these obstructions to see what they are, and I stayed clear of them in deep water. Now, look what happened as we came up off the top end of the island. I had my course set for Korčula, and I expanded just to check detail, and look what I saw. An area of shallow water out in the middle of nowhere, 10 miles between the islands, where the water the water depth comes up to 10 meters. So we went over and had a look at it, and sure enough, you could see the shallow water, right? So that was 10 meters, but what if it had been a rock sticking just below the surface, and you hadn't checked, you haven't expanded your chart plotter? You wouldn't know, so you've got to do this, right? As you're going along, sure, open out the big picture to see where you're going, but then zoom in and get the detail of the actual track over the ground, okay? The way would work, or used to work, or probably still works on a natural Royal Navy warship, when you're planning a passage, a warship doesn't just drive along somewhat randomly. You draw a pencil line on the chart with the course, etc., okay? And then the navigator and even the captain will look down that line and approve that that is the line that the ship is going to go down. And you'll fix the position of the ship every step of the way, that it's on that line, because that is the line that has been examined. It's free of rocks, it's free of hazard, and that is where the ship is going to go. I say that to illustrate the point. Obviously, your Sunday afternoon outing or your charter holiday, you don't necessarily need that level of precision, but it speaks to what it should look like, and then you can decide what feels comfortable for you, okay? A couple of other things that'll be useful for you to know. Your latitude and longitude. God forbid you ever have to send a mayday position or a mayday call. The most important thing they need to know is, where are you? Okay, because if they don't know where you are and you're sinking, they don't know where to come and find you, right? So there's a set format of how we read these numbers. We don't say 43, we don't say O. O is always a 0, 1 is 1, and then a point like that, a decimal point, is always decimal. We don't say point, we say decimal. So the way we would read this is, my position is 43 degrees 01 decimal 3 north. We don't need all the decimal places, that's good enough. 016 degrees 22 decimal 8 east, okay? So if you have to send that the way it's sent, you don't need to say latitude, longitude, you just say my position is 43 degrees 01 decimal 3 north, 016 degrees 22 decimal 9 east. Boom, that's where you are, okay? So that's how you use numeric numbers and to give your latitude and longitude in position, right? So that's about it. So as I say, this is just a general overview. I don't want people saying, oh, you should have done this, and you could have if you're going on a charter holiday, you could go to your nautical store wherever you live. You can order the most detailed charts that you can find for the area where there's bigger blow-ups and more detail. But again, this was just to illustrate the point that we're out here, we're basically on holiday, we're relaxed, we're having fun, but you owe it to yourself just to pay the slightest attention to your navigation and any possible hazards. Hope that's helpful. Find me at royalnavyyachtmaster.com and hire me to come out and coach you on your boat, especially in docking and undocking. That's where you guys struggle the most. That's where I can provide you a transformational experience that will leave you confident, safer, and having more fun. Thanks for watching.